6 early votes locations, or 8, I guess. We had to have 2 in each one, plus a 9th one over there. And to me, it looks like a wreck fixing to happen, and we're going to have locations that may be understaffed, and then all the problems that we've seen before, we may see them compounded because we tried to overdo what, to correct what was a perceived problem. So
I worry just from a security aspect and from our voters who are already suspicious of how things are handled between early voting and election day, that that if we start having more problems in our polling place, it's going to be perceived even worse. So I worry about just the perception of how the elections are being run, the perceptions of if everything is safe, in those locations. I can't tell you if those locations, have the facilities to be able to, lock those premises off. I don't really know. I've been to Castle Heights a couple times, but I think it's just one room, the room that we vote in. I don't know that it has any other access from any other room, but whether or not those locations are amenable to allowing us to use those for the 2 weeks.
In Castle Heights, I can speak to the fact that it is one room, and during elections, they lock any doors leading to that room except the entrance, which is the back of the church.
Right.
So it
That they
doesn't
used to
interfere with their services, if that's your concern.
Okay, so I think we need to first take this last amendment, which was to keep the polling places open the first week at 7 to 7 as it is in the second week. So let's
And the weekend.
not on the weekend.
No, the weekend is Saturday 7 to 7 and Sunday 10 to 4.
Right. I think that amendment would just change that first week to
Yeah.
keep it open from
Yep.
7 to 7.
That's correct.
Okay, so.
Judge, may I say one more
Okay.
thing? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Has anyone talked to the cities and schools? We're not the only ones on this ballot. We have 2 cities, 3 schools who will also have interest in what happens in November. I mean, I think I would, unless any of the commissioners have talked to them, I think I would feel better if we reached out to the cities and schools to see their thoughts, and maybe table it till next week.
Trudy?
That would,
Can we
I
table
think
Trudy,
that would maybe give them.
I would like to say that I appreciate your concern, but we're actually not changing the ballot. We're simply, hopefully, offering opportunities for voters to exercise their rights.
Right, I understand that, but you're also increasing the cost that the cities and schools would incur for holding a joint election with us. So, they pay a portion of all of our costs for those locations, so.
But-
Do we have the ability to table it? Am I to understand we've got one more week that we can table?
So we're asking them to,
What is next week?
if we go to the 7 to 7, we'd be asking them to split the cost of the 3 additional hours for all of the workers.
That's all.
Right, and I did figure that up. It's about $2,100 a location, which is not huge, so, I mean, between the entities. But I'm more concerned about all the extra locations that you're opening. That's about $1,400 a location, and that's just in payroll. That's not if those locations charge us, the cost of the supplies for those elections, the cost of the ballots, so. I mean, I would think that would give them, I know that 2 of the entities have it on their agenda for the second week of July, so I feel like that maybe we would be okay. I would rather table it and reach out to them and see what.
So we just said we're not going to have a commissioner meeting on the 12th.
Right.
So is that,
But the next one is the
we
5th.
got one.
The 19th.
No, we have one on the 5th.
We have one on the 5th.
July the 5th.
I mean, I think it would be better to have more information than to vote on something.
And that would also give me time to reach out to those locations to see if they would even consider that.
And maybe have a better, I don't know whether you could even get an idea about whether election workers might be available to do those 12-hour days for 2 weeks plus the weekend.
Yeah, because we're looking at, for 4 more locations, we're looking at six workers for each of those locations, so
That's another 24.
it's another
Judge,
24
if you'd
people.
entertain it, I would like to retract my motion. I know you have to retract the second too, with the intent that we would table this for 1 week after I retract that motion.
Okay, so who made you?
I
made the
will,
motion, she
I
seconded it.
will agree.
Okay.
Friendly
Okay.
agree.
So the motion this motion has been retracted.
Right.
And so now if we want a motion to table,
I'd like
Motion to table.
There you go.
And I'll second that.
okay, we got a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion?
I would like to, Judge, I would like to offer to Trudy the suggestion of using the resources we have in this community. You have both party chairs here. It's not a decision that you yourself must make, but use the resources in the room or in the community to help you with locating those people.
Okay.
And I understand that that's what you are doing now, but it's not all on you.
Okay, so motion and a second to table number 6. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 7, I think will probably be the same way. We're going
No.
to table it and we'll do it all at one
Those
time.
are the
I
standard
I have no
election days.
problem with 7 I'll make a motion to approve
And I'll second.
7.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to approve number 7. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 8 is approval of the following amended travel policy effective July 1st, 2022. Mileage is .625.
Move approval.
So second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 9 is consider to approve termination of amendment number 1 to contract 18139D Enterprise Resource Planning Software with GovSense LLC.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 10 is approval of contract renewal with Bryan Independent School District for Juvenile Justice Alternative Education, JJAEP Services.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 11 is approval of contract renewal with College Station Independent School District for Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program Services.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 12 is approval of contract renewal with Navasota Independent School District for Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program Services.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 13 is approval of the following committee for the evaluation proposal RFQ 22-124 Professional Services Architect.
Move approval A through E.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 14 is permission to advertise RFQ 22-124 Professional Services Architect.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 15 is approval of contract 22-146 Project Management Software with Procore.
Move
Move
approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 16 is approval of contract 22-147 Secure Short-Term Detention of Juvenile Offenders with Coppin County.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 17 is award of RFP CIP 22-638 Peach Creek Cutoff Reconstruction. Recommended award, Larry Young Paving, Inc.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 18 is approval of final Winding Creek Estates 5, including replat of Common Area 1, Block 6, Winding Creek Estates Phase 2, J.C. Stuttville Survey A216, City of College Station, ETJ, Brazos County, Texas, sites located precinct 1.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 19 is approval of payment to Carla and Gary Seaton for water line easement needed for the relocation of a 12-inch water line for improvements to be made to Straub Road, site located in precinct 1.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 20 is acceptance of special warranty deed 0.10 acre of land from Tauber Exploration and Production to be used for improvements on Sand Creek Road, sites located in precinct 2.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Number 21 is budget amendments. Budget amendments FY 21/22, 37.1 through 37.4.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 22 is personnel change status.
Move approval A and B.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. We will skip down to number 26 is acknowledged. Did I miss one?
Payment of
Payment
claims.
claim 23.
Yeah, we must pay the bills.
You're right. Payment of claims to be paid by Brazos County, claim number 8115952 through claim number 8116079 and claim number 9005195 through claim number 9005240.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None motion carries. Now we'll skip down to number 26 is an acknowledgement of FY 21-22 budget to actuals by funds as of June 22nd, 2022. Number 27 is acknowledgement of monthly reports submitted June 22. 28 is juvenile director's report on detention population. Linda.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. At the present time, we have 41 juveniles in detention, 35 males, 6 females, and we have 33 on electronic monitor.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Linda. 28 or 29 is sheriff's report on inmate population. Sure.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. 635 total today, 536 men, 99 women, 51 on electronic monitoring, 14 pending.
How many pending?
14.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sure. Number 30 is announcement of interest items and possible future agenda topics.
I have an interest.
Charles.
Okay,
Judge, if I
Charles.
may, one brief. This is Josue Loyola. He's the newest member of our department, and so we just wanted to bring him and introduce him, and he had a short 10-minute speech prepared.
You can cut it to 5, it's okay.
Or even one.
We just wanted to introduce him. You'll be seeing him around, so.
Super.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good to have you aboard.
Welcome. Judge, I do have a couple of items of
Okay.
interest I'd like to share. On Sunday, I was invited to speak at the First Presbyterian Church. They celebrated a service for the Lord's Day is what it was called, but it was a salute to service, community service. The second item I have is a big concern to the veterans of Brazos Valley I'm a member of the board of the Veterans Park Board, and we're the ones that put together the park, the Veterans Park in College Station. We have an annual program where we place on the wall of honor names of veterans submitted to us. So I would like to encourage each and every one present and in the community to please think about the veterans that are in your family, in your neighborhood, in your church, or your group. I think it is one of the grandest ways that Brazos Valley celebrates the veterans in our area. Please take a form, pass it to that person that you want to have fill it out, and all they have to do is turn it in. Thank you.
I'll take one.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
But you
Any
know-
other announcement? Hearing none. Number 31 is call for citizens' input and/or concerns. And I had Mike Sutherland want to speak. Where's Mike? There you are.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Mike Sutherland, City of Bryan. Live in the City of Bryan. I want to echo what Irma said about the veterans in that wall where you can put your name on it. I've got 10 people that I put on there. And the thing about that wall is some people were in your family probably were killed in one of the wars at age 19 or 20. That's the average age. And so they never had a life. And that's probably the only place that they'll ever be remembered for anything is on that wall. It's really appreciated by many. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. And what I'd like to talk about is follow up on the comments y'all were making about the polling places. And I'm really concerned about it because I'm concerned about being fair and equal and not requiring anybody to vote in a manner that overtaxes them more than somebody else is time to vote. I think what I heard was the primary holdback on opening more polling locations was recruiting election workers. Y'all don't do that. Trudy doesn't do that. The parties do that.
Right.
So, and it's incumbent upon them to get more people if they don't have enough people. And they've got, the whole 200,000 people to recruit from. And so if you can't recruit people on the way you're doing it now, I think you probably need to raise the salaries of that. You got plenty of money, and people have been talking about how much the county pays, but you're skipping over that the state pays some, the parties pay some, the cities pay some, the school system pays some, and y'all pay some. So it's not a big burden financially because it's divided up among so many people. And another thing is that you kept saying among you that it doesn't really matter where the voters are, even though there's a few number, because you put them where the most voters are concentrated. I think that was kind of the guideline that I got out of it. The problem with that is that's not what you're doing. College Station probably has 75% of the voters. They have 2 early voting places. Bryan has 3, where the least number compared to the city vote. So, and on the day of election, you've got 25 polling places, but only 11 in College Station, where most of the voters are. So I don't think you're following through on your thought about where the most voters are, where you put the polling places. So when you come back on the next week, I guess it is, whenever it's postponed to, please consider that you're really not concentrating on where the most voters are. You're doing something different. I don't know what it is. The other thing is that it was mentioned, going back to the number of people around a polling place, it's not really important. It is important because we just recently had some elections that were decided one time by 1 vote and one time by 3 votes. And I've had friends of mine run for office and be outvoted by 1 vote. So the number of people that go to those polls is significant. And however you get them there is the goal. Get them there is the goal. And if it, based on the cost y'all are talking about, I mean, it's nothing compared to the amount of money spent between, I bet you, between your budget, Bryan's about 500 million, College Station's about the same. it's $1 billion that you have in your budget that you use our tax money for. And this is so important, it's got to take high priority. So I implore you to reconsider those polling places. I mean, I don't know why it's not affordable to have them all open. And I think I would let the guide for that be the number of people you can recruit to work in those polls. Well, not you, but the parties can recruit to work in those places. So let that be your guide. Offer them more money if you have to, but get the people to volunteer for it, and then you decide how many people you got, how many polling places you can support. But it's got to be an honest effort to do that. Am I done? Okay. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your work.
Thank you, Mike. Any other citizen?
I wanted to follow up on what Mike said, and I appreciate him, but I just want to caution us if we start looking at things just by the numbers, because that's what gets us into problems. There's more at play than the number of people in a community, and that's where disenfranchisement takes place. I live in South College Station, and I'll flat out tell you, I can drive. The gas is not a problem. My people in Stone Forest, Pebble Creek, we can afford to drive to the closest polling location, which is not far. When you consider polling locations, think about the community there and whether they can afford the gas to drive, whether they have a car to drive there. So as I hear this concern, this idea of pushing more locations in South College Station, I have to say I'm not in favor of it. Look at where the polling places are needed based on the community needs, not just numbers. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, we will go back up to number 24 and convene an executive session pursuant to the following Texas Government Code 551.0725 to deliberate business and financial issues related to a contract being negotiated, and I think that particular one we need to.
That is correct, Judge. I'm Ed Bull in my capacity as legal officer. I've already tendered an opinion basically stating that it would be detrimental to the position of the county to deliberate this in open court. I'd ask the court take a vote and find it unanimous in order for us to go into executive session and to discuss this.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Motion passes. And then number B will be Texas Government Code 551.0745 to deliberate about a county advisory body. And we need Cheryl, the commissioners, and I think the attorneys and Kim. I believe that's all we need to do there. And the time is 11:22. Okay, you ready? Coming out of executive session, it's 11:53. There's no action to be taken, and the next item is to adjourn. Thank you.